Hello and welcome to the live series podcast where I bring to you some of the best technology leaders across Europe who are prepared to give up their time to share their expertise, stories and ideas in a way to bring the tech community together and inspire the next generation of software development professionals. In this episode, I'm delighted to be joined by Marwa Ali Reda, who is the Software Development Manager at Amazon Web Services. Now, I don't think that Amazon are a business that I need to introduce or tell anybody about. Mara was onboarded at AWS completely remotely because of the pandemic. So I'm really excited today to understand how one of the best tech businesses in the world have gone on onboarding their tech professionals. Today, we're going to be discussing some of the challenges that she's faced throughout her career and also discuss advice for those who are looking to take a similar step into technical leadership in the future. So Mara, welcome to the show. Thanks very much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you, David. Thank you for having me today. Yeah, I'm very excited to have this episode. Yeah.
Good. I'm really excited to find out a little bit more about yourself. So how I usually start off the podcast, Mara, is to just get a little bit of a background about yourself, talk around your story and how you ultimately fell into development and also how you progressed into kind of a tech leader that you're in now, I suppose.
Okay. So I studied computer science. I studied in Egypt. And since that it's my profession, I didn't do anything else during my career. I started as junior developer for medical solution software house. We've been building solutions for medical records, integrating with medical equipment. Then I moved to sales tax authority. Mainly it was fintech. After that, I spent 10 years in telecom company, and most of my experience is coming from there. It's really interesting domain. You're serving customers. You have a lot of challenges related to the networks, and I got a lot of experience and fun when I was working in it's called TE Data. I had a lot of fun spending this 10 years there. In the middle of this 10 years, I start leading teams. I start learning about management. We've been building solutions for customer relationship management and order fulfillment and orchestration. Then by end of 2018, I decided to seek more or different opportunities.
Yep.
And leave my comfort zone. So I start searching for jobs outside Egypt. In mid of 2019, I moved to Berlin. I started as a software engineering manager for e-commerce company. And then after a year, I moved to AWS, and this is my current job. I started totally remote. And I'm having a lot of fun as well.
So you started in that role probably around 5 months ago, and you were...
Yeah, by end of August, I will be spending 5 months in AWS.
Wow, so you were onboarded remotely for AWS during a global pandemic as a tech leader.
Exactly.
How have you found that?
It's challenging, of course, but it has a lot of fun. Because when you overcome challenges, it turns out to be a fun experience. Yeah. So of course, setting up all the equipment and access rights and getting to know the tools all alone, reading all of pages, instructions, how to use different stuff and tools. This was a challenge, but it was okay. The most challenging part, I think, getting to know people, because when you are managing people, the social part is very essential and it's very important. You need to have this sense of non-verbal communication, getting to
Yeah.
know people personally, build this rapport with them. And this is a little bit challenging when you are remote. We have some hacks and tips, yes, but I'm still missing the social part of the job itself, even with my peers, with my manager. We have a lot of social events. We have coffee breaks, virtual coffee breaks. We try to meet outside for once, and keeping all these restrictions and social distancing and
Social distancing, yeah.
But yeah, still I have this feeling that the most challenging part is missing the social part of the job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that how does that affect your ability to get to know people on more of a one-to-one level when you're having to manage people remotely and you've maybe never met them before? Is that something that you felt was quite a challenge for you going into such a large company?
Yes, exactly. It was a challenging. You know that a lot of experience that you get about the culture and the company is happening outside the formal meetings. It's the talks that happens between the colleagues, and this is the part that I'm missing. However, yeah, what I'm doing is having more check-ins with the people. When I feel that someone is not super happy or have something that he didn't spoke openly, I ask once and twice. I ask more, and to try to have built this rapport. It's a little bit challenging, but a lot of it check-ins can work out a little bit, and some of non-business events is helping as well. Sharing some personal stuff, what I love, what they love, what they are doing the weekends, what they are doing for vacations. So sharing some non-business stuff helped a little bit. Yeah.
So you've not been in the office at all since you started?
No, I didn't.
Can you see that changing in the short term? What are the plans, I suppose, with the team in terms of managing?
So far, we don't have plans because the situation for COVID-19 is not improving so far. So there is no short-term plans to go back to the office. And we need to deal with the situation because the safety for everyone comes first, and this is a concept for the company, and I totally respect it. So we have to work around this.
So
but in the same time, we are trying to make sure that everyone is getting what is necessary to do his job, like the correct, the right equipment, seating, stuff, everything that facilitates doing the job. The company is providing that.
So all of your remote work equipment and seating, etc., that's covered completely by Amazon, yeah?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So what would you say, apart from the fact that you've had the challenge of being on remotely, what's been the main difference of working within your previous company? Because you were working at Wayfair, weren't you? You were quite a well-established business. What are the differences between the two types of businesses that you've worked at since moving over to Berlin?
Okay, it's different because Wayfair was it's an e-commerce company and mainly for furniture. So the business area is different. The target customer is different. But for AWS, I'm in AWS, Amazon Web Services, not Amazon as the retail.
As in the retail,
for Amazon. So it's a different. We are providing cloud services, and the target customer is different. The size of the company is different. Of course, the culture and the mission is different. But in my previous job, it was easier, of course, to get to build this rapport with the team members. I was easily integrated with the team because we were meeting every day. We have all the events together, the lunch breaks together. And this is what I miss right now.
So when you when the pandemic finishes, I suppose, is your plan that you want to get back to the office and get back to some kind of normality, or can you see that remote working aspect continuing for a kind of a sustainable period in the future?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, because I love meeting people and I love interacting with them. I love being in touch with them. So I hope that this happens soon. But yeah.
You just never know at the moment. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the I suppose during the last 3 months since you've started, what's been the kind of the main challenge that you faced from a technical perspective when you joined?
Okay, in the technical perspective, the main challenge that mostly my past experience was in the back-end technologies, and my current job is front-end technologies.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah, so it's totally different when we talk about the design, when we talk about the infrastructure or the architecture for the front-end tools is totally different than when we discuss this. And I didn't have this experience. I'm still learning.
Yeah.
I still have a lot to learn, but it's interesting. I'm enjoying it so much. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm a visual person, so UI and having this direct visualization of the team effort can be seen easily. Maybe that's why I feel that I fit more in this technology more than the back end. Yeah, but I'm enjoying it so much, and I'm enjoying that the UX, you are closer to the customer. You think as a customer, and I enjoy this part so much.
Perfect. I mean, you've obviously come from a software development background. It's not like you've maybe been towards the people side and then you transitioned into management. So I suppose that that idea of constant learning and upskilling yourself as you have done as a developer, I imagine that that's come quite natural to you to learn those new technologies and that new way of working on the front end as opposed to the back end.
Yeah, I can learn. Of course, it's a part of the job, and people management remains the same in both. It remains the same. It's not a challenging part, but of course, as a manager, you have to at least understand what the team is doing, at least to have the sense when they estimate a task, for example, if you are, maybe sometimes you challenge them while the situation doesn't need a challenge, or yeah, so you have to have the sense of what they are doing, their dependency, what they should take care while planning a task, for example, the correct questions to ask. So a high level, at least high level technical knowledge is required. It's not only people management role, and this is what I'm seeking for now to learn. At least to understand the workflow, what are the steps for the different type of projects. This is something I'm learning, and I'm trying to shadow one of the engineers to understand more. It's not necessarily that I have hands-on tasks. It's an essential part, but I think at least understanding and feeling what the team is doing is important.
Is important, yeah. Okay. What would you say has been, from making a step into a tech leadership position in your role back when you were in Egypt? What was the biggest challenge that you felt as an engineer that you had to overcome in making that step into management?
When I switched from engineer to management?
Yeah.
I don't remember that it was very challenging, because I was part of the team, and then I started growing with the team, and the team started growing, so I led them. So it was some sort of gradual. It was not one big bang transition. And at this moment, back to this moment, it was my comfort zone. So I was totally aware and interacting with our customers. I was involved in hiring the new team members, where I start managing or leading. So it was gradual step. But switching to a team that you were not member of this team is a little bit challenging, because you need to learn their business, their customer, learn about their customers, about the technology they are using, the tools, a lot of stuff. But when I transitioned back in Egypt, I didn't have all this type of challenges.
Okay. So essentially I suppose you were already performing the role to a certain extent and leading by example, and then you naturally just fell into that.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It seems that that's something that a lot of people fall down on, if that makes sense, and they're very focused on the technical side, and they're a developer, and that's their focus. And then one day they wake up and they say, right, well, I now want to be an engineering manager, or I want to lead a team, but they haven't been involved in that people side, and they haven't done the mentoring, or they haven't led projects in a way that you would need to as a leader, and then it makes that transition into being a leader much harder.
Yeah, but I would not recommend for someone to make this transition in this aggressive way. Yeah, maybe someone can start by leading a project as a beginning with a small number of people, and see how he can perform, because leading people is a really big responsibility. And a bad manager can affect someone very badly. They can affect their whole life, not only in their job. So I would not recommend for anyone to just transition immediately for a management. There is a learning curve that should be happen first.
Yeah.
So learning about a lot of stuff, like how you set expectations, how you receive and give feedback, and having one-on-one meetings, supporting someone to grow, supporting someone to have a development plan, a lot of stuff related to people management. And it doesn't come between night and another. So I would recommend for anyone who wish to transition to a people manager, to have it gradually and start with a small scope and then grow within this scope. So I would say leading a project is a very good opportunity for someone who wants to switch to management position, and they can start improving their skills in managing people and managing projects, and then they can seek the next step, managing a bigger team.
Okay, makes sense. Have you given any thoughts as to how the tech space is developing now, obviously in this new world of remote working, and we've been forced into working from home, and being separated from the teams because of the pandemic? What do you believe is one of the biggest challenges that's yet to be faced by the tech community, whether it be technology or the pandemic itself?
I think the knowledge sharing is the most challenging part. It's not easy for now when you are having some issue and you need someone to support you. Just call him and he will come and look to your screen and support you. This is a challenging part. So I think to overcome on this challenge is the documentation. But documentation help a lot. And this is something I really like about Amazon. They document everything and they encourage people to contribute into the documentation. So this is a very good thing that we have. So whenever you are stuck in some technical issue, you will find something to refer to, and someone to refer to as well. So the expertise are well known. When you are struggling in something, you can refer to whom. And in the same time, this documentation.
Perfect. Okay, no, that makes perfect sense. If there was, and just kind of finally, just to wrap things up, if there was somebody listening to this who's thinking of getting into tech leadership and wanting some, what advice would you give them ultimately for anybody who's kind of making that transition into tech leadership?
I think they should find the role model and mentoring is a very good tool.
Okay.
I think most of the company are offering this, that the higher level is providing mentorship for the lower levels. So I think this person can start with seeking for a mentorship from a good manager or a role model for him. Also, a lot of books there, and I think reading is a very important about management, and good practices about management is really important. For example, I have 3 books that I really recommend for anyone who wants to transition to people manager. It's manager path. This is a one, and this one is describing the techniques, how to set expectation, how to ask for expectation, how to give feedback, how to receive feedback, what is the type of alignment that you need with the team, with the peers, managing up this different stuff. This book is full of techniques. And there is another book, it's called Radical Candor. It's for Kim Scott. This is really a good book, and I recommend it for anyone who's starting his career or his or her career in the management. It's what I like about this book, because it's tackling the 2 aspects for a manager: the human part and the coaching part, how to coach someone and how to provide feedback, even it's negative and even it's hard. You should do this for the benefit of the employee, and at the same time you should care personally for the person, which is a combination that I don't feel that anyone can do it easily. Yeah, so I do recommend this book very much. Another one is this one is for people who are transitioning from local companies to multinational companies. It's a book called Culture Map. This book is I really love this book because it's helped me a lot to understand the cultural differences between different nations and different people, and how can we deal and meet in between, because we have really different scales when we look to different in communication, in the way we manage. So I really recommend this book as well.
Perfect. Well, I'll get the names of those books, and I'll put a link.
I can send the links, or
I'll put the links to the to everybody who's listening to the podcast. I'll put the links on there, so if anyone
I can share this.
Fantastic.
Because I'm talking from top of my head, so I can send you the names and the exact writers.
Perfect. Brilliant. All right, that's great, Marwa. Well, thank you so much for being part of the podcast. There's some really cool insights that you've given there to your background, and some great advice that I'm sure will be really valuable to a lot of people who are listening. Everyone that is listening, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, if you could like and share it with your network, and tune in next time. We're going to have a number of other episodes coming up over the coming weeks. But thank you very much for now, Marwa. Thanks very much for your time, and I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, thank you so much, David. I really enjoyed our chat, and looking forward to share this broadcast with my network.
Thank you.